do with the resources we have. I mean, how does that amount to a disagreement? Are we together? Yes. I mean, is it wrong to be able to stand on your own and do your own stuff? Is that a weakness or a strength? Yes, to me, akili bana. So, what have we done? We have decided to have alternative instruments of financing our development. We went the route of securitization. Many people told us, oh, you are going to do this. Because of securitization, and I must thank members of parliament, when I negotiated with you and I told you guys, forgo these 7 shillings, it will help us raise money. We raised 175 billion shillings. We returned all the contractors to our roads. We paid them. Today, we have 6,000 kilometers of road going on in Kenya. We have 90% of our contractors are back on site, and new roads are now being contracted because we decided not to continuously depend on the budget. We looked for alternative instruments of financing our road infrastructure. We are doing the same with Talanta. We are doing the same. Look, when I say innovative, I was explaining today in the morning, how did we decide to finance Talanta? The sports fund has been a fund that has been there forever. That sports fund has not achieved much because you find a few, a small project there. Most of the money is lost. Another project there, some cabro in some place, some gate in some place. We decided that instead of spending this money with no accountability, let us consolidate it and do a big project. Today, and somebody was saying, oh, William Ruto has pledged for 15 years money from the sports fund. Yes, we have done it. But at least we have Talanta Stadium, complete, standing here. Tell me, sports fund has been there for 20 years. Which other project has it done? Can you show me one project? At least I can show you what it's going to do for 15 years. Are we together? Yes, that's how innovation works. How are we building Bomas? Have you seen any budget have you seen any approval of any line of budget in Parliament for Bomas? We are building Bomas using the tourism levy. Tourism levy has never done anything for this country for the last 30 years. Nothing. Kuna kitu mara sijui nini naenda kusponsor kitu moja hapo, naenda kusponsor pale, nagawiwa sijui waziri achukue pesa ngapi, sijui nani achukue pesa ngapi. Today, that money is building Bomas. Friends, that is how thinking out of the box looks like. Kwani mlikuwa mnafikiri thinking out of the box ni kufanya kitu gani? If we had gone to borrow money to build all this, we would be in trouble, So we have decided to think outside the box. Securitization. We are discussing today proceeds from some of our mature assets. When we discussed about selling a stake in Kenya Pipeline, many people said, oh, you want to sell the family jewel, or you want to sell this. We've done privatization before. We privatized Kenya Airways, we privatized KCB, we privatized Safaricom, we privatized I don't know which company. But today, we cannot account for the proceeds of that privatization. We are doing it differently. And that is why Parliament passed the National Infrastructure Fund. It is not an experiment, as I said yesterday. It is what other countries have done. It's what India has done. It's what the UK has done. It's what Ghana has done. It's what South Africa have done. And that is the way to the future. This morning, Leo, I rang the bell at Nairobi's Securities Exchange, and we collected 106 billion from the sale of our stake in Kenya Pipeline IPO. And we are going to put that money in the National Infrastructure Fund. You know, let me explain to you. If we don't have the National Infrastructure Fund, the National Infrastructure Fund gives us a different leverage. It multiplies that 106 billion 10 times. You know, not through magic, no. Through innovation, creativity, and financing. And that is how we are going to have additional resources to do our roads, to generate more energy, and to do what our senior here, party leader, was saying. He said, we pretend that there is always an emergency in northern part of Kenya, when we know it's going to happen. Because of what we are doing now, if you read today's newspaper, we have already advertised for several dams. So when I talked about us using the National Infrastructure Fund and proceeds from privatization for building infrastructure, we are not talking about the future. We are talking about doing it now. We've already done the contract for Kenyatta. That is where about 15 billion shillings is going to go. And that 15 billion shillings is going to enable us raise 150 billion, just by putting 15 billion. It's the same thing we're going to do with the dams. If you check today, we have already advertised several dams, because that is how we are going to cure the problem of food insecurity. Water harvesting, water storage, irrigation. That's how we are going to eliminate the shame of hunger in our republic. And we are beginning that journey today. Many people were asking themselves, will the National Infrastructure Fund be accountable? I want to tell you, yes, it's going to be accountable. It's going to be accountable to Parliament. It's going to be audited by the Auditor General. It's going to engage Cabinet. And we are going to make sure that no shilling of that money is going to go anywhere, except for productive national infrastructure. I will be appointing the board tomorrow. The governing council tomorrow. Then they will be the one to competitively recruit the board, because we want to inject transparency into that space. I was saying this in reference to debt, how we are dealing with debt, and how we want to make debt not a threat to the Republic of Kenya. Number one, we have negotiated with our lenders. Number two, we have rearranged, using liability management, the debt portfolio. Number three, we are using different mechanisms to raise revenues for matters to do with the public infrastructure development. We are using private-public partnership. Finally, the Rironi-Mau Summit Road, we are not even investing money from the public. That is being built using private-public partnership. And that is how we are going to grow our country without putting too much burden on citizens on taxation or over borrowing from everywhere. So, national debt. So if anybody was doubting the commitment of the broad-based government or our commitment to the 10-point agenda, I have explained with clarity what we are doing, because we set up this exam ourselves. We wanted the highest standard for ourselves so that we can serve the Kenya people better. Let me go finally to one more issue, and that is the issue of the subject we committed ourselves to, which was peaceful assembly and making sure that the victims of protests are compensated, although we have been told here, and it is correct by the party leader of ODM, that you can never compensate life, but you can do something about it. What have we done? You know, many people are saying, oh yeah, maybe. I took the first step and gazetted a victims' compensation panel. It subsequently went to court, and the court held it for a while. Even as the court held it, we did some work. We have identified all the victims, as we talk to you, with the Kenya Human Rights Commission, with the Independent Police Oversight Authority. We have identified all the victims and profiled their names, and we have already made sure that we have a comprehensive list. We did not even stop at 2013. We went back all the way to 2017 to make sure that all those that were affected by protests from 2017 are now captured. So we have already identified all the people in there. We have provided resources. You will be approving 2 billion shillings to make sure that we have the resources to compensate those people. Finally, the court came through and gave direction on how that process should be done. And last week, we now, in compliance with the decision of the court, last week we gazetted a panel, as was recommended by the court, to expedite this process. And it is our belief that unless something else happens, we should be able to conclude this exercise before June, so that we can all be in that space. But we are not stopping there. We are saying we want to look at the future. And so I think it will be right for us in this PG to recommend that the Kenya Human Rights Commission propose a law to Parliament on protection of protesters. Let there be a law on how to protect protesters, because it is a constitutional right. We do not want to propose the law from the executive side of government. Let it be proposed by the Kenya Human Rights Commission in consultation with others, so that we can carry that through. Let me conclude by saying that aside from that, we have facilitated the Independent Police Oversight Authority to make sure that those security officers in breach are held to account. As I speak to you today, 35 cases have been successfully prosecuted, and 49 police officers have been convicted. As I talk to you, we have another 30 cases that are undergoing, and the process is ongoing. We have implored on the Police Oversight Authority to appropriate this mandate as efficiently as they can, so that we can all move together in that same direction. On matters to do with the rule of law, I think it was explained to us here with a lot of clarity. Number one, we are facilitating the courts to make sure that they have the human capital to deliver on this mandate. I did swear in 11 judges of Court of Appeal. There is an ongoing process of hiring more judges. There is also an ongoing process of hiring more magistrates. We have provided the resources for that. We did provide also resources for the mobility of our judicial officers. They wanted some vehicles. We have provided the resources for them. They wanted the resources to do e-filing across the country. We have provided resources for them. And yesterday, as I said, with the passage of Parliament of the benefits, especially pension benefits bill for judges, yesterday I did sign it into law so that we can give our judicial officers greater capacity and be able to, for them to be able to appropriate and discharge their mandate as is required of them by the Constitution. So, in a nutshell, these are the items I wanted to speak to you about, just as summary of the items that we are engaged in as an administration. And we are not doing this to satisfy the 10-point agenda. No, we are doing this because it is good for Kenya. And because we made a commitment, not by force, but because we wanted to do it. And I am very confident that working with you, we will find the way into the future together. Finally, while some initiatives have taken longer due to parliamentary and other judicial procedures, we must now accelerate the passage of the laws that are there in Parliament. And I do recommend that we establish a mediation committee, a broad-based mediation committee, to negotiate between the two houses of Parliament so that we can fast-track whatever is remaining of the 10-point agenda. I know the committee, the Oversight Committee, have requested us to extend their term by only 60 days for them to conclude some of the processes they are doing, and I think it is only fair. They have done a great job. I think it's only fair that we extend that by 60 days. I don't know whether that is agreeable to members here. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion don't speak? All right. So I think it is so extended. And finally, I want to secure your concurrence that we ask the leadership of Parliament to establish a broad-based mediation committee to negotiate on some of the issues that are outstanding on the NADGO bills that are in Parliament. Do we agree that we establish a broad-based mediation committee? I put a question. Will as many as of that opinion that we establish a broad-based mediation committee say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion shut up? Okay? So I think that is that. And finally, I want to request that with where we have reached, I don't know whether this is the right point for us to say this, where we have reached in the consultation. I will maybe want to ask the leadership to come and read for us the summary of what we have achieved. But let me say the following, because following consultations between the party leader of ODM and myself, on behalf of all of us, the UDA Management Committee did endorse that we begin consultations between UDA Kenya Kwanza and ODM. It was also approved by the National Executive Committee of UDA, and it was also approved by the National Governing Council of UDA. The same happened for ODM. There was, I think, a meeting of the Management Committee of ODM, NEC, and also the other organs. It is my proposal that this PG endorses what was agreed in the organs of ODM and in the organs of UDA, as a means of carrying also the decision as endorsed by this joint parliamentary group. I don't know whether that is a good place for me to put a question. I therefore put a question that as many as of the opinion that they agree with the decisions of the organs of ODM and the organs of UDA on the process of engagement between our two formations, as many as of those who agree with the decisions of the organs of the party say aye. As many as of a contrary opinion say something? Nothing. Okay, they say nothing. The ayes have it. I don't know whether there is another matter. Yes, there is a final matter. Just hold on, Chair. There is a final matter that it is my request and that of the party leader of ODM that as a way of now progressing our consultations in line with the authority given to us by the organs of the party, that this PG endorses the formation of a technical committee to now take the process forward of 4 members from ODM and 4 members from UDA to craft for the party leader of ODM and myself, a technical committee to put together how we take this process into the future, as recommended by the party organs of the two formations. And we want to ask this PG to agree that we form a technical committee of 4 members each from UDA and ODM to take this process forward. As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as of a contrary opinion, if they want to say something, they have nothing to say. Okay. The ayes have it. Okay, it is, I think for good record, we should say the ayes have it. I think I have discharged my mandate as permitted by Daktari Senator Oburu Oginga. I did secure his concurrence that I undertake this exercise. So I want to say thank you very much. I leave now the other processes to the rest of the people. Yes, yes? You want to say something? Are you sure you want to say something?
Sir, I'm sorry I have to speak before you come down. Please say something about the 2/3 gender rule. It is silent in this report, even under the recommendations of the ZANI committee. They are silent about the way forward. No, it is not there.
It is there. Just mentioned. It is there, Can somebody read out the
Chair,
it is there,
Your Excellency, please let me read for you.
We cannot make such a fatal mistake.
You know, Your Excellency.
Item number 1, constitutional amendment. Yes.
Yeah, but so, you know, sir, you know how critical this matter is.
Yes.
Your pronouncement means a lot to the women of this country. It is very, very important that this is mentioned right here and now. Respectfully.
Let me be specific. Let me be specific. Part of the reason why we believe there is need for a broad-based mediation committee is because the constitutional amendments that have been proposed, including that specific one on 2/3 gender rule, we need as a broad-based to agree on a common position, both in the National Assembly and the Senate. And primarily, that is the reason why we are proposing that mediation committee. And we all agree in this PG that we are in support, at least party leader Oburu Oginga and myself support 100% the matter of the 2/3 gender rule, and this parliamentary group in its entirety, without any exceptions, support the two-gender rule. We'll ask two-thirds gender rule. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Honestly says, we are all in. Yeah, we are all in. So thank you very much.
I think His Excellency the President has allowed us to sit down, those who can sit. The fire, see fire. The power, see power. Fire, power. Now, we've run out of time. We will very quickly conclude by acknowledging Your Excellency in this meeting. We have had the attendance of 137 National Assembly members of UDA and 68 from ODM. 137, from UDA and its affiliates in Kenya Kwanza, and 68 from ODM, total 205. Members of the Senate from Kenya Kwanza, 22, and 38 from ODM, total 60. Iala members 3 from UDA and none from ODM. I don't know where the ODM Iala brigade is. The total numbers, National Assembly, 162, and from National Assembly, 106 from Senate, total, both houses, 268. Your Excellency, we also have Excellency governors, maybe those who are still here. I see Waigoro, Sakaja, Mungaro, Mtutu, Governor of Lamu. I see some of them have left, and the Chair of the Council of Governors is also present. Your Excellency, because of time, you have had very clearly two major presentations. One, our scorecard as broad-based government. Two, our progress on this long-term issue about the 10-point agenda. Our two leaders have spoken, UDA, ODM. So really, unless there is something, maybe a comment or two, we can take them. And after that, I'll invite the House leadership of the two houses to come and flank those who will read the resolutions on behalf of the joint PG. And in the next 3-4 minutes, we can be out of here. Yes, Honorable Oluoch, quickly. Honorable Oluoch.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, the Vice President, the Deputy President. I have only two comments to make, one by way of way forward. The main issue that I want to say is the communication that comes out of here must be clear and succinct in terms of what the 10-point agenda has achieved.
Correct.
And I think His Excellency the President has properly captured this.
Yes.
Much more than I see of this report, and not because they have done a bad job. I think we must recall this document and capture what the President has said in terms of what has been achieved, so that what goes out to the public captures both what the President has said and what the committee work has done, so that we don't give any room for miscommunication. My second and last point on the issue of governance and the rule of law is to provide for a consideration on how we can strengthen political parties and continue to fund political parties as per the law required. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Good job. Can we take a position on that? He thinks the President's explanation has been a little more... Yes. We can do an executive summary and release a dispatch maybe later today. not immediately now, release a dispatch on the 10-point agenda in a more comprehensive manner. So members of the press, you will have to wait until later in the day for that dispatch to be issued. And also the funding of political parties, I think we are in concurrence. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Right? Other than that, any other comment? I think that was a very good input. I think we are good. Please, House leaders. One more from a lady member there. The last one. Yes.
A point of correction.
Yes.
Talanta Stadium is now Raila Amolo Odinga Stadium. Thank you.
That should also be reflected for the record.
Corrected, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, I think this is a good position to end because of the pressure of the parliamentary time this afternoon. Thank you very much, the leaders of both houses of parliament, both from the UDA and ODM side. We appreciate your giving us an opportunity to assist in the running of the affairs of this meeting. I now invite the leaders of both houses of parliament from both sides, UDA, ODM, to step forward and we'll get the resolutions read. After that, Gitonga, you will call for the national anthem. We conclude the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, DP. We'll ask Honorable Osoro, Millie Odhiambo, if you're in the House, please step forward, and the two SGs.
No, you can read page 1, then you can give me the rest.
This,
Hmm?
Resolutions passed.
Okay. I will add that. No, where's the answer happen?
SG. Millie. You can come here. Your Excellency, if you allow me to also acknowledge among us those members who are here, we also have our partners and friends from Jubilee Party who are not part of ODM or Kenya Kwanza and are here, and we truly appreciate them for joining us. I'll now proceed to read the communique following the second joint ODM-UDA Parliamentary Group meeting held at the KICC today in Nairobi. The Joint Parliamentary Group of the United Democratic Alliance, UDA, and the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM, held its second meeting at the Kenyatta International Conference Center, Nairobi, on the 10th of March 2026. The meeting has reviewed progress made in the implementation of the broad-based government agenda over the past year and received a report from the Oversight Committee on the status of the 10-point agenda agreed upon under the Memorandum of Understanding between the two parties. The joint PG noted with satisfaction that approximately 80% of the agreed commitments have been implemented. The meeting reaffirmed that the Memorandum of Understanding between UDA and ODM is anchored on a 10-point agenda drawn largely from the recommendations of the National Dialogue Committee, NADCO, addressing key national priorities, including electoral reforms, the cost of living, governance, economic stability, and institutional reforms. Members have observed that the partnership has contributed significantly to political stability and created an enabling environment for the implementation of programs aimed at expanding economic opportunities, particularly for young people in our country, while strengthening sound economic management. The meeting further noted progress made in stabilizing the economy and addressing the cost of living through measures including reduced inflation, the continuous fertilizer subsidies program that is supporting farmers across the nation, expanded health care and health coverage under the Social Health Authority, strengthened anti-corruption measures, and the revival of the stalled road projects through the securitization of the Road Maintenance Levy Fund. I want to invite Honorable Junet to continue.
Oh, okay. The meeting resolved to extend the mandate of the Oversight Committee by 60 days to enable it to finalize outstanding matters arising from the implementation of the agenda. In addition, the joint PG agreed to establish a joint technical committee with each party nominating 4 members and the respective executive directors serving as joint secretaries. The committee will develop the shared policy agenda and priorities of the 2 parties, which will inform the work of a coalition framework to be considered later in the year. So this is the technical committee that will develop the issues and the things that pertain to the public and the 2 parties and lay ground on what issues the negotiation committee will discuss on the issues. The Joint Parliamentary Group reaffirmed its commitment to continued cooperation in the national interest and to advancing reforms aimed at strengthening Kenya's democracy, stabilizing the economy, and improving the livelihoods of the people of Kenya. The PG resolved to adopt all resolutions passed by organs of the parties. That is the end of our statement, and thank you very much, Your Excellency. In conclusion also, in the spirit of strengthening political parties, I want to bring to the attention of the PG that ODM is owed 12 billion shillings as their money. 12 billion. If we get that one, then we shall be very happy.
Thank you. I think, DP, I'll invite you back to help us close the meeting and request members of the House Business Committee in both houses, please, immediately after this meeting, Honorable TJ, let us proceed straight into the meeting for the House Business Committee. Thank you.
And with that, I'll request that we all be upstanding for the national anthem, which is our joint prayer as we come to the conclusion of this session. So let's all be upstanding for the national anthem. The anthem. And with that, we'll now allow His Excellency to depart and leave at his own pleasure. Do have yourselves a wonderful afternoon. Thank you, and God bless.
That some of us have been very concerned about the issue of victims. And I'm glad that today they've gone on record that the victims will be compensated. Secondly, devolution. You know, there was that famous story that a child always asks for more, and it's never enough. The Constitution of Kenya says that there are 2 levels of government, devolution and national, separate but interdependent. Kenya cannot really develop fully if devolved government is not fully funded for the development functions that it performs. I'm grateful that it is said that the equitable share of revenue to counties has increased to 385 billion shillings in financial year 2024-2025 to 450